Once upon a time, Amazon Music met audiobooks, and listeners everywhere rejoiced.
Oh, yeah.
Because now they could listen to one audiobook title a month from an enormous library of popular audiobook titles, including romantasy, autobiographies, true crime, and more. Suddenly, listeners didn't mind sitting in traffic or even missing their flight. Amazon Music Unlimited now includes Audible.
No way.
Download the Amazon Music app now to start listening. Terms apply.
Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, Imagineering picks up some themed entertainment awards. Thanksgiving meal option, Magic key holders can pick up a free gift.
The Haunted Mansion queue has opened. Big changes to the D23 membership plans. We talked to Kaye from the Walt Disney Hometown Museum and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Oh boy, it sure is great to see you, Weekly Tears. Come on, Goofy. Gores.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of November 27th, 2024. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Teg Bushman. We would like to thank everyone who supports the show, especially this week, since we are in America celebrating Thanksgiving. This week, we would like to give a special shout out to Eric J., Steve H., Brandon H., and Kristen M., for supporting the show and continuing to support the show. If you would like to help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, and a bunch of other perks, head on over to dlweekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
Weekly tiers know that Imagineers are amazing at bringing stories to life in the parks, resorts, ships, and other locations around the world. The Themed Entertainment Association has recognized Imagineering for 3 separate projects. Fantasy Springs at Tokyo Disney Sea and Zootopia at Shanghai Disneyland have received the Outstanding Achievement Award. Theme Park Land, making it the first time Imagineering has received 2 awards in the category in a single year. The Outstanding Achievement Technical Innovation was awarded for the BDX droids found wandering around in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. These add to the nearly 70 THEA awards that Imagineering has received over the last 30 years.
So, obviously, we're a little jealous here in the United States because Fantasy Springs and Zootopia both look amazing,
yes.
And they've obviously won awards for this. They do look really, really great. I feel like I need to watch some more videos on this because I haven't really had time to look at it, but both of these lands, Fantasy Springs especially, I think is massive and it encompasses a bunch of different themes.
I can hook you up with some good videos to watch.
Okay. And then, of course, we've seen the BDX droids. We saw them at the D23 Ultimate Fan Event, and we saw them in the parks, and they are really cool and amazing, and I'm so glad that they won a Technical Innovation Award. My guess is that those holotile things that they talked about, once they actually do something with them, it'll probably win an award for that as well.
I still can't wait to see how that comes to life in either the parks or the ship or wherever, one of the cruise ships. I can't wait to see that kind of like what that is when it's like themed and usable for guests, or if it's going to be like an interactive element for, I don't know, maybe cast members to be using that we as the guests get to watch. And anyways, I'm so curious about that. But this is just so exciting. Of course, 2 of these things are for overseas projects, but come on now. The BDX droids, I'm going to take that as a win for Disneyland since they debuted at Disneyland, and they're so stinking cute. I hope they come back soon and have more of a permanent place in Galaxy's Edge.
I totally agree.
Because they were in training when we got to visit them, and they were you can't help but like smile when watching those cute little droids.
And the people that operate them do such a fantastic job as well. Well, for weekly tiers looking to spend Thanksgiving in Disneyland, there are a couple of places to get a meal to celebrate. Carnation Cafe will have a Thanksgiving turkey dinner for $25, which includes an oven-roasted turkey breast, mashed potatoes, turkey gravy, seasonal vegetables, and cornbread stuffing. A kid's size is just $15. The Plaza Inn also has a Thanksgiving dinner for $18.99. Guests get carved turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes, gravy, green beans, and cranberry sauce. A child's portion is available for $10.49. For a snack, there is a Thanksmas sandwich at the Jolly Holiday and a turkey dinner potato at Troubadour Tavern.
Okay, I don't know if I would consider those last 2 things snacks because they are quite generous in portion size. But if you want to, maybe not a full meal. But how, holidays at the parks is not something that I've experienced. I've never been at the resort for Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, any of the big Halloween.
We've been there during the celebrations.
Like the days that you typically have these types of meals at home. So I love that Disneyland kind of can become your home away from home, and you can still celebrate with all the classics on Thanksgiving Day at some of your favorite locations. I can't believe this, but the Plaza Inn one at $18.99, that feels like such a good value for everything that you get. And we've been to Plaza many, many times, especially for the chicken. And they're very generous portions. We typically share plates. So $18.99 for all that sounds great, especially after you read off what Carnation has. $25 again, not a terrible price point, but I don't know what it is. It just seems like the Plaza is the way to go. The other nice thing about going to Plaza is you can go when you want to go. You don't have to have a reservation. Whereas Carnation, it's definitely preferred to have a reservation.
Yeah. Yeah. If any of you guys end up having any of these things on Thanksgiving, let us know. Send us some photos or something. I'd be curious to see what the stuff looks like, because there was, in where we saw it, there wasn't any photos or anything. It was just mentioning what they were going to have.
Just the descriptions, yes, but they sound... Oh, the other thing, too, is if you're not going to be in the parks, don't forget, go over to Earl of Sandwich, because they also have like a turkey stuffing themed sandwich that you can get there, too.
Well, we love Earl of Sandwich.
We do love Earl of Sandwich. Well, another gift is available for Magic Key holders at the resort from November 27th through December 6th, while supplies last, of course. Key holders can pick up a Moana 2 custom print. It can be picked up at Disneyana, the Kingswell shop, and over at the Wonderground Gallery.
This is kind of a nice little print. Disney shared a photo of what it'll look like, and I kind of like it. Of course, Hey is part of it, so I'm very happy with this. And, of course, Maui and Pua and Moana herself is on there. And then also, what are the little coconut people?
Oh, the Kakamora.
The Kakamora are also on there, so looks cool.
I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty positive that this was done by artist Ryan Riller, who does all of the wildly crazy, incredible cut art. So it's like paper cut art. This is a print of a paper cut art, but they didn't give credit in the article that we have this from. And he did share it on his Instagram, but didn't say specifically it was him. But I think this is his, and I think it's so cool. I was able to meet Ryan at Pride Night this last year. He was there signing prints and such. He had this incredible Agatha print that had just debuted, and yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty, it looks like it's his signature in the bottom corner.
I just compared
it's
it to...
so good, something. And he's got such a, it's such a crazy, unique art style to me, and I just can't wrap my head around how long these actually take for him to create.
Well, think about it. The people at the portrait studios that make our little portraits, I imagine he might just be like...
Yeah, but it's all the layers of all the different things, and
but
then,
he might be quick.
Having to do draw on Maui's tattoos, and I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, depending on what it is. I'm looking at, there's an example that Tree says on her screen right now that is like a Little Mermaid thing.
Yeah. He does so many cool things. We will put, you know what? I'm just going to put a link to his Instagram in the show notes if anybody's curious.
Perfect.
And wants to check out some of his other art. But yeah, he kind of does a little peek behind the process on some of the things, but incredible.
That's cool. Well, the extended queue of the Haunted Mansion has finally debuted to guests. The new extended queue has a lot of details to look at and enjoy. The path winds through some gardens, Madame Leota's Enchanted Garden, and past new crypts. Guests and mobility devices enter through the main entrance of the mansion and exit through a new accessible elevator that features a gallery of original artwork for the attraction. And by original artwork, I mean artwork that was originally done for the attraction before it was built, basically.
I can't handle how well this turned out. It exceeded my expectations. I am so excited to get back to the parks to be able to walk through and really take in all of the details of this space, because there are layers and layers and layers of different things that they put in here, from the horticulture team to the Imagineering team to everyone in between. To me, this is what a perfect queue is, where there's so much to look at and see and take in while you're waiting that you don't necessarily realize that you're waiting, because there is some, like right now we're watching a walkthrough that Fresh Baked had posted earlier today. There is a little bit of the OG queue there. That's kind of that switchbacky stuff, but most of it is themed now. So there's lots of stuff to look at. Whereas before, yes, it was themed in the front, but then you had quite a bit of just kind of staring at each otherness in the back and forth switchbacks. Mm-hmm. It just looks great. It looks so good.
It does look great. What I'm curious about, and I don't know if he does it in his video or not, but I'm sure there's somebody on the internet that has video of going through the accessible exit now, because I'd like to see what that process looks like and where that queue kind of goes through. So if I find something, I'll put it in the show notes, but I'm curious about it. But it's cool that this is open. We knew it was coming, and I think you're right. They did such a great job. Now, I will say, if you go to the link in our show notes that we have for Mice Chat, there's some comments in the bottom about how, it's great that they have this, but they didn't, they're complaining about, well, if they didn't have Lightning Lane, they wouldn't even need it because there was never a line before, and now blah, blah, blah. Which I don't necessarily disagree, but we should not complain when Disney does something nice and good and it looks great, because you know what? That'll make them not want to do those nice things anymore. So let's just take it as a win. I think it's great.
And to piggyback on the queue opening up, we had some other really exciting news coming from the Haunted Mansion. There's new concept art of the inside of the new shop that's at the exit, which is themed to Madame Leota. But there's the concept art. There's kind of like a story that you can kind of see being woven on what they're doing on the inside here. It looks really, really cool. Really cool. I hope, as we know from what the exterior concept art looks like versus what we're kind of seeing put together, of course, concept art always is going to be different than what the reality is going to come out. But even if it has half of what's inside the space, it looks really fun and really themed.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot bigger, too. I think somebody was showing that the building goes back further than I think we realized, and it kind of expands out. So I'm excited. They're adding all these little touches and stuff on the outside. And if any of Ray's Berets or Lewis's Critter Club are any indication, this shop is going to be great.
Yes.
I think Disney's doing a really great job right now with theming and stuff around the park. So we had a little bit of time where things were a little rough or whatever, but I feel like they're in high gear right now, coming up with really cool experiences and locations.
Agreed. Well, the Main Street train station is finally out from behind the scrims and looks great. With the candlelight processional happening soon, it needed to be complete for the setup that features the train station as a stage and backdrop. The displays inside the station have been cleaned up and look great, with the roof being completely replaced and the decorative elements on the exterior getting a really good polish.
I am very excited by this. I will say, again, there's a Mice Chat article linked here that I thought was funny. It looks really great. They were like, look at these 3 light bulbs that are out. And I could not find 3 light bulbs out. I could find 1. You found 2? Where was the second one?
Let me find it.
I found 1. But I think it looks great. And the train station, for me, is almost as iconic at Disneyland as Sleeping Beauty Castle. So the fact that they did this and it looks so great. And it is also one of those challenging things to put behind scrim, because that's one of the first things that anybody sees, and you can't have it covered up and stuff. It's just kind of sad.
These are the 2 I found. 1 and 2.
That doesn't count as a bulb out because I think that's behind the eave.
But I think
I think it's behind the eave.
But I think with how much the glow comes out of these other ones, we should see that glow coming out.
Maybe, but I'm not counting that because I can't tell for sure.
God,
I only see 1. They said 3. I don't see a third one.
Yeah, I'm not finding it. Oh, what's this? Maybe it's here.
Okay, well, we don't need to nitpick across.
It looks way better than it did, though. And
oh my goodness, it does. Yeah. It looks way better, and I'm sure. I feel like Disney, I know they want to keep with that theme, the theme of having you don't want to have LED lights, but I think they could convert this to LED lights, because LED lights now look really good.
They would make that style in an LED. And if anybody can find it, Disney can find it. But I feel like that should be something they could find.
Oh, so that probably is one that's out.
It was like doing an I Spy, because of course they're like, there's 3 bulbs out. And I was like, what? Where? So.
Anyway, we don't need to be I Spying this.
No.
They did a great job. Disney did great. I'm glad that they decided to do this, and it looks way better than it did before, and I can't wait to see it in person.
Well, to kind of have a sad transition into the next,
Well, the Lego store has reopened in downtown Disney, but has little to show for the refurbishment. None of the new Lego sculptures have been installed, with no word on if they're coming at all. Hopefully, they've just been delayed and will show up in the future.
I could see that these things be, that they're being created and built not on site, and that maybe they'll move them in later, but I was really hoping. At the very least, I feel like they could, I don't know. Like, I know they're made out of real bricks. I'm not saying take it all apart, redo it, but maybe a fresh coat of paint on the exterior ones because they're very, very, very sun faded. But yeah, I was really expecting a lot more with this, and I was like super excited. So this fell a little flat for me, but maybe they're updating things in stages.
Yeah, I think it looks like overall it looks brighter and a little more like
Inside
vivid.
the store, yeah.
But Meister, I think, was saying that for how busy this store is, it should really be a bigger location.
Yeah.
Why not put it across the way in the old ESPN zone spot, make it a big building? Because this does have really cool, unique architecture, but it should be a bigger location because every time we've gone in there, it's been pretty busy.
Yeah, it's packed. Either that or we've got really bad timing.
I want to say all
store.
Lego stores are like this, though, because the one in the Mall of America is smaller than this one, or maybe about the same size as this one, maybe about the same size as this one. And it also is like packed all the time. So
the upcoming Parkside Market at the west end of downtown Disney has received some of the final signage for the stores that will call this location home. The Parkside Market, Sip and Sonder, and D-Lander signs have all been installed and look nearly ready to open. In fact, the walls came down in front of D-Lander probably earlier today, if not late yesterday.
Yeah, these look, compared to the concept art, I actually think, and this doesn't happen very often, but I think what we got was better than the concept art because I feel like the glass panels and stuff have some coloring. I just think it looks really nice.
The little color pops that they put in the glass, the big glass kind of side. I really dig the font that they used and the style that they used for Parkside Market. I think it's really fun. Of course, I love the color because it's kind of a blue teal, which Tag always makes fun of me. That's my favorite color of our logo. Of all the colors of the logo, there's like a teal blue that always catches my eye, and it's like probably the color that is the least used in the DL Weekly logo, but I always think it's a really main big part of the logo whenever we have to design things with stuff to
That's
kind
fair.
of go back to our logo. But yeah, anyways, side note, off the rail there. But yeah, so what do you think of what we're seeing thus far?
I like it. I think it looks really nice. I like the mid-century modern design, I think, is a win. I think the signage, like you said, looks really great. I'm very excited for this to kind of just be open, just like we were with some of the other things that have been taken forever in downtown Disney. So Centrico and Paseo that finally got open like months ago at this point, getting Din Tai Fung open and all of that. And so this is kind of like the last piece of all of that. Well, that's not true. The last piece would be Earl of Sandwich, which I was watching Fresh Bake's construction video today, and they said looking through permits that the foundation has already been poured. They just haven't done vertical construction with it yet. So even though you can't see it over the wall, there is movement going on that.
Beginning.
So that's going to be exciting. That means soon, right? Like sooner rather than later. So,
I'm still just so like opposite end of downtown Disney. I'm just so mind boggled at the concept art for Portos now and how giant that's going to be. I'm really curious to watch that construction project happen and take shape because I just can't it's hard for me to wrap my head around what that's going to be because it's a much, much, much larger footprint than what we currently have.
Yeah, I think it's going to be massive. I don't think we're ready for it. But it's going to be cool when it's there, and I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for Earl to have its location and finally just be left alone. And I'll tell you what, I personally will fly to California and picket Disney if they put them in another location and then move them again. Because that Earl of Sandwich, poor Earl, has moved from location to location to location. Just let them have a home.
I'm just happy that they came back, though, because when they first moved out of the west side of downtown Disney, which is now what's wrapping up its new facelift, I was really worried that was the end, and I'm like, no, it's so good. Like it's just such a perfect fit. So I'm glad that they're back and that they're going to have a big, spacious new home.
Fingers crossed that it happens quick. Well, when Ray's Berets opened in Bayou Country, Ray had his home decked out for Halloween. Well, now that Halloween is over, he's decorated for Christmas. He has a couple of stockings hung by the fireplace and a tree set up with a gift nearby. Mice Chat reports that Imagineers mentioned that Ray will be redecorating for many holidays throughout the year.
I cannot handle this. It is so cute. Everyone knows how much I adore watching Patrick Begora decorate his little home every season. Well,
now you got 2 locations.
Every season, but multiple times throughout the year for the different seasons. And now there's 2 places. It's great. Maybe Ray and Patrick can get together and like swap decorating tips.
This is cute. It's something very simple, but it's like one of those little things that makes Disney, right? Like they don't have to do this.
Exactly.
But it really does add to it. And, it's easy to say like, oh, it opened in the Halloween season, so maybe the Imagineers were like, let's just put this little cute thing in there. But the fact that they're putting decorations in a second holiday after it's been open, we'll see how it goes.
The fact that it hasn't even been open that long and they've decorated for not 1 but 2 holidays already is kind of crazy, Attention to detail. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
Magic key holders who might be holding out on using Lightning Lane can get it at a discounted price in January. From January 6th through January 31st, the discount for Lightning Lane will be doubled when using your magic key to enter the parks.
Yeah, so that's cool if you want to use it.
I tell you, I think because of Tiana's opening, I was checking the app today like a crazy long distance fan that I am, because I was very excited to see that the Haunted Mansion was going to stand by, and I just wanted to see it with my own eyes. The wait time posted on the app, because again,
how was the wait
crazy
time?
Person. Well, when I checked, it was 30 minutes, but that was this
bad.
morning, so that was not that long after opening. So yeah, but when I was checking, it showed me, of course, because it's trying to sell me Lightning Lane, even though I'm not at the park, and I would think the app would realize that I don't have a reservation, nor do I have a ticket to go today. But I think Lightning Lane was $39 today. So they're getting a little more brave with doing more of the higher paid Lightning Lane days than what I feel like we've seen in the past. That might be because of Tiana's Bayou Adventure being a Lightning Lane, a regular Lightning Lane option. Same thing with Haunted Mansion Holiday. That's very popular. You've got the holiday overlay over at It's a Small World too. So I don't know if Disney's just hiked the price because there might be a lot more demand because it's a very special time of year, plus the new attraction.
It's a Small World Holiday, by the way. We're recording this on Tuesday, November 26th at 5:41 California Disneyland time. And there's a 10-minute standby wait for It's a Small World Holiday and a 40-minute standby wait for Haunted Mansion Holiday.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Mm-hmm. Jungle Cruise has a 15-minute wait as of right now.
It seems like a very enjoyable day to be at the park.
Yeah. 35 minutes for Rise.
Okay.
And matched with 35 back in.
Okay, you got to look at DCA. What's Radiator Springs Racers doing?
That's a great question. I'm sure it's still a while. 120 minutes. and
Racers.
Guardians is 60. So
okay. Go to Disneyland today. Not DCA.
Yeah. Well, if you want some truly original holiday merchandise, stop into Din Tai Fung in downtown Disney. Din Tai Fung's mascots are available in a plush purse and a clip-on plushie version. A pair of holiday ornaments are also available.
These are crazy cute. Crazy cute. I think I missed because when we went to Din Tai Fung to try it out, they didn't have the merchandise there just yet. So I think I missed when merchandise did finally shift to the location for guests to be able to buy. But come on, how cute. It's a little dumpling with a Santa hat. They're just so cute.
It's the little things, isn't it, Teresa?
It is the little things.
It's the little things. Yeah, the little plushy things look like they're super soft looking, actually.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I probably, if they were priced well, I would probably buy the ornaments. Let's see, I think we have a price for the ornaments. We don't have a price for the ornaments.
That's my favorite.
But I would get the ornament.
The little dumpling or bao bun with his little Santa hat. It just kills me. In his little steamer tray.
I think you need some Mickey ears or Minnie ears that have like a little dumpling on each side smiling at you.
Oh, you mean like the little Din Tai Fung
Sure.
buns can be
the
the ears instead? I like it. Well, there is a gingerbread house in the Grand Californian lobby, in the ballroom of the Haunted Mansion, and now one in the Candy Palace and Candy Kitchen on Main Street. What makes this one special is that it's Sleeping Beauty's Winter Castle.
I saw this on Instagram.
Magic.
And I was so excited that they were finally making a gingerbread Sleeping Beauty castle, because why have they not done this already? And this one,
because
again,
they're making so many other gingerbread houses that go
but they
around the
haven't.
resort.
I thought that this would be like a no-brainer that they would make this and put it somewhere in the resort.
It is not the same scale as the other
No.
two gingerbread houses mentioned. It is a smaller scale. But
It is
dang,
cute.
they did not lack on the details of this thing. Every single little brick is molded in the side of that gingerbread. It's a whole 360-degree thing. It's not just, look at it from this side only. Amazing. So good.
Yeah, this would be cool. I can't wait to see photos. All we have is the Disneyland video of it on Instagram as of the moment, but I can't wait to see I'm sure I'll find a video or something later that shows it in the park, because I'm curious where in the Candy Palace and Kitchen, because is it behind the glass where they make stuff, or is it behind the cash wrap in that little display area? Because I feel with a 360 it should be somewhere where you can see
Where you can
all the
kinda
sides.
walk around it, yeah.
All right, everybody, buckle in. This is a long read. Here we go. D23, the official Disney fan club, is updating the membership plans. The general membership level, which includes a weekly newsletter, seasonal activations, and access to sweepstakes and general events, will remain free. Starting January 1st, there will be 3 new gold membership levels. Each level will include access to D23 events, discounts, and special offers, with the addition of an exclusive D23 Gold membership kit, which comes with a membership certificate and card, a savings passport, collectible Stitch pin, Goofy and Max car magnet, and a special Disney Lorcana trading card. Starting with the spring 2025 issue of the Disney 23 publication, it will be offered in a digital and interactive version. These are all included in the Gold Member Essential Plan, which is $49.99 a year. For $99.99 per year, you can get the Gold Member Choice Plan, which includes all the Essential Plan items plus one exclusive item. Choice Plan members can choose between a Spirit jersey, pin box set, fan pack with crossbody bag, water bottle, and twill cap, or a replica of the Disneyland Park entrance plaque, a reproduction of Walt Disney's annotations from 1955, and a 70th anniversary book. Finally, the Gold Complete Plan includes everything in the Essential Plan and all 4 of the exclusive items in the Choice Plan for $299.99.
Okay, I'll be honest. When this first announced, I was like, no, the duo plan's going away, because that's the plan that Tag and I have had for years, because the current duo plan is one price, but you get, in essence, 2 memberships, but only 1 membership gift, which was perfect for us. So I was initially sad, but then I actually took the time to read the article. Then I got excited again, because I love this. So currently, the quote unquote cheap or the regular gold individual plan is $99.99 a year. The duo plan is $129.99 a year. Both come with the gold member card, access to the events, all that stuff, and both come with just one gift. I think this is wonderful, because for those that maybe aren't really needing the actual gift in their life, you don't have to do that. And in fact, you're saving money now. It's only $50. You still get the wonderful gold member card. I'm a nerd and have saved all of my D23 membership cards, because they're always, I don't know why, they always look so great to me. You get all the little welcome official certificate thing. Plus you get the magnet. There's a pin that you it's a really nice smaller gift set, and really at a great price point. And if you're someone that likes the merch and likes the stuff, really, we were talking about this. So if the regular plan, just to be a gold member, is $49.99, and you bump up to the next level to do $99.99, you're getting a Spirit jersey, for example, for a $50 difference. Where can you find a $50 Disney Spirit jersey other than the outlets or the cast member store? You can't. Spirit jerseys are much more they're much more pricey. And like the little gift set things, if you don't get the Spirit jersey, are all really, really great. Tag and I, in fact, we were talking, we're like, well, what do you choose? Like, what if, and that's why they have the final option, the I can't choose, I want it all level at $2.99, which for what this stuff is normally priced, if you were to go buy these things just as individual things, it's a really great deal. Even though it is, yes, $2.99 is a high price point to pay for a membership. The items that you are getting here, I don't think you could buy individually for less than.
Yeah, I'm stuck now though, because for this coming year, I want the Disneyland book and the plaque and all that. I also want the crossbody bag, water bottle, and hat, and I also want the pin set. So
of course, you just gotta go big, and that will be your first ever official Disney Spirit jersey, and then you can determine if you want it or not, depending on how much you want.
I'll just give it to you. Like, I don't need a Spirit jersey, but you don't really wear Spirit jerseys either.
No, I don't.
Maybe I'll sell it to someone. Sell it to a weekly
I
tier or
think
something.
maybe you should try it, because maybe you'll be converted. Because
I don't want to be converted for the price.
I do have Spirit jerseys that I've purchased typically because they were on sale or whatever, that I do really enjoy to wear around the house because they are very, very cozy. The difficult thing with us in Spirit jerseys is we live in the Midwest. It gets cold, very cold here. A Spirit jersey is not cutting it. We need more. We need more than a Spirit jersey to stay warm in the winters up here. So Spirit jerseys are a little difficult, but I tell you, they're super cozy to just like be lazy around the house, just wear it during the weekend and putz around your house in.
I will say that the most disappointing of all of this for me is that starting with the spring 2025 issue of the Disney 23 publication, you will either have to purchase a copy from DisneyStore.com or you just get a digital version. And one of the things I liked about these was I kind of liked the little collection, because it was a very nice publication. It was big, colorful pages. There's a lot of great stuff in there. I really enjoyed. It was one of the few things that I would regularly get that I would sit down at the dining room table when I got it, like unpackage it and kind of flip through it. And I really enjoyed that. And sure, there were editions of this that I was like, I don't really care about any of this, because it was like a lot of times if there was a big movie coming, like the whole thing was kind of about that movie, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need like every story to be about Frozen 2 or whatever. But when we had anniversaries of the parks or certain things happened at the parks, then it was covered with that type of stuff, which I was really enjoying. So I'm just kind of sad about that, but maybe I can make a digital copy of the thing and put it digitally.
And then you can pick and choose which physical copies you have, because you can order them. Of course, you have to buy them when you order them. But the other really fun thing that I felt like Disney was kind of missing, because Disney has so many different pieces. And like me personally, I'm a Magic Key holder. I'm a Disney Plus subscriber. I'm a D23 Gold member. But really, there was no benefit to kind of be all of these different things. I just do it because I enjoy all of the different aspects. Mm-hmm. I'm super curious that there is now a D23 Gold member savings passport. And if maybe there's going to be, I don't know, I guess I'm going to say synergy or incentive to kind of be someone that has the different, that has all these different pieces of the bigger Disney puzzle. I'm curious. They didn't say specifically what is in that savings passport just yet, but I'm really curious about that. And then the last thing that I really want to talk about real quick was not only did they announce the new plans or levels or whatever you want to call it for D23 Gold membership, but they also talked about some of the fun upcoming events. Just real quick, Destination D23, we did get a date for that. It will be held August 29th through the 31st in 2025, and that happens over at the Walt Disney World Resort. There's also going to be a spotlight series where they're partnering with different teams across the company, including like the Walt Disney Archives and other things. These are going to be in-person events, and they're going to alternate between Orlando and LA. But one of the things that they announced that will be one of these presentations is going to be called Disneyland Fond Memories of the Past, presented by Becky Klein, who's of course the Walt Disney Archives director. There's going to be virtual presentations. There's going to be more offerings of the official tour of the Walt Disney Studios, and they're adding something new. There's a Walt Disney's Los Angeles tour that is new this year. That's going to be in addition to the Studios tour. So more to come on all of these specifics, but I think that they sound all very, very exciting.
And of course, there's the D23 night with the Anaheim Ducks, which is going to be March 23rd in Anaheim at the Honda Center, and the D23 day at Angel Stadium, which is going to be May 25th at, of course, Angel Stadium. So there's all types of cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And they also said there's plenty of other things that they want to talk about for next year, but they haven't. Or there's more to come this year. So there's all types of stuff going on.
Lots and lots of fun announcements from our friends over at D23.
If you live in Southern California, it's the place to be for D23 members for sure.
Yeah,
or
for
Orlando,
sure.
apparently they're adding more stuff.
Okay, we got to talk real quick about this Walt Disney's Los Angeles tour. Did you have a chance to read through?
I was reading while you were talking about it.
So the Walt Disney Archives and partners with D23 announced this new tour experience exclusive for D23 Gold members, but it's going to take guests to all sorts of famous places that Walt Disney frequented in Southern California, including locations of personal significance of Walt, a tour of Walt's offices at the Disney Studios lot, along with the ink and paint building experience and a signature meal at one of Walt's regular restaurants.
That's cool.
How fun is that? That's like a walk in Walt's steps type tour to be able to see all of those places that. Yeah,
I saw the Los Angeles tour and I was like, I wonder what Bob Gurr feels about this because he's got the
but it
Bob
sounds
Gurr thing,
it sounds to me it sounds like you can do Bob's tour and they complement each other.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm real excited.
Yeah, should be really cool.
I'm probably looking into this, but it says ink and paint building experience. So of course, me being the nerd, I'm like, oh, do we get to like ink and paint to sell? Like that'd be so cool. Or like watch a demonstration or, whatever. I would love to like ink and paint a cell. I don't think that's part of it. Maybe we just get to see maybe it's just someone else doing it, but God, that would be so cool.
It'd be cool. They could do something small like that.
I would love it.
I am Groot.
What do you mean you're hungry? Kraglin needs those pots for the rehydrator. We don't have time for snacks.
I am Groot.
Were you talking to Tag and Teresa again? How'd they even get a hold of you?
I am Groot.
Fine. One snack. That's it.
I am Groot.
No, I haven't seen any churros. You gotta talk to Vern. And stop smiling.
All right, well, this week for Snack Chat, we've gone around the whole park, and we're coming back down Main Street, or up Main Street, or however you want to do it, heading towards the entrance again. The last time we were on Main Street...
how have we made it all the way around already?
Right? The last time we were on Main Street, we had talked about the Jolly Holiday. We were kind of talking about Maurice's cart kind of a little bit, which doesn't really count as Main Street, but kind of counts as Main Street. Anyway, we're back around, and we're at the Plaza Inn.
So Plaza Inn, I'm sure if you've listened to any of our trip reports, is one of our most favorite places to dine in Disneyland. However, to be fair, there are quite a few of our favorite places to dine in Disneyland, but we always seem to gravitate towards the Plaza Inn. They do have a breakfast available there. However, it is a character dining package for the breakfast. It is $50 per adult or $30 per child, and it's kind of like you've experienced this before, so you should talk more on that.
It's got all the stuff listed here.
But is it like a buffet? Is it family style? How do they serve?
Yeah, it's like a buffet. You go up and pick out the stuff that you want. So they've got cereal and scrambled eggs and bacon, of course, Mickey waffles. They got muffins and croissants and Danish and fruit. They have a omelet bar that you can go up and they'll make it for you. Sausage, biscuits and gravy, and breakfast potatoes. You basically go up and grab whatever you want, come sit down. If you've cleared that, you can go back up and get more. And of course, they have a bunch of characters that come around to your different tables, so you don't have to wait or you don't have to go find them. They all come to you and they rotate around. And there was a ton of characters at this one when we went. We had Tigger and we had Minnie, because Minnie was kind of out front. You take a picture with her before you even go in. There was Chippendale. Goofy might have come in at one point. There was just a ton of characters. So if you want to get the most character bang for your buck, I actually think $50 for an adult and $30 for a child, with all the stuff you could eat here and stuff, with all the characters, actually not a bad deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, if character dining for breakfast isn't your thing, they are open for lunch and dinner as well, just normal dining. Entrees include, they have salmon with lemon butter, dill, caper sauce, rice pilaf, and seasonal vegetables. They also have pot roast, which is slow roasted, served with mashed potatoes and gravy, buttermilk, biscuit, and seasonal vegetables.
I can't believe I haven't had the salmon there. Or I don't remember having
I
salmon
think
there.
you used to get one of the pastas until
used to
we
get the pasta.
until we switched over to the amazingness that is the chicken.
So I used to get the penne pasta with marinara, which is topped with Parmesan cheese and served with a breadstick, which is pretty good, actually. And then, of course, there's the thing it's like most known for. I would say it's the signature thing for dinner, which is the chicken, which is they're underselling it, large pieces of chicken,
yes,
fried to a golden brown, seasoned with distinctive herbs and spices, which make it delicious, served with mashed potatoes and gravy, buttermilk biscuit, and seasonal vegetable. As Teresa said before, you could eat this chicken. We share it a lot of the times.
It's half of a chicken. You get a breast, a drummy, and a thigh.
Yeah. And Teresa will usually eat the breast, and I'll eat the drummy and thigh, and pretty good. Now, sometimes if you're really, really nice, you can maybe try to get like a second leg and like not have the thigh or like whatever. But generally, they want to give you the breast, the thigh, the leg. So just keep that in mind. I have seen people ask nicely, and
depending on what
it
it is, because they won't do like two breasts,
No.
but like maybe they'll swap a breast, instead of take the breast off and do like two thighs and a drummy or something like that. But yeah, there are some combinations you're able to do, but yeah, not too many.
Don't get mad at the cast member if they don't do it for you.
Yeah. There's also, which I think I just had this last trip in June, a Cobb salad. It was delightful, but it's made with seared chicken, bacon, hard-boiled eggs, tomatoes, and blue cheese on romaine lettuce. And then there's also a penne pasta with chicken and a pesto Alfredo sauce. Honestly, the thing that's crazy to me here is your pasta dishes are $15.99 per plate, whereas that giant chicken meal we just described is only $19.99.
Don't say that too loud; they'll raise the price.
Oh, it's also a very good value.
It is a very good value. One of the things that I really like about the Plaza Inn when we go there is this is a place that is frequently having current desserts, like things that are dealing with stuff currently. So in the time we've gone there, they've had like Halloween ones and Christmas ones. They had the Pride cake. They had a cake for the return of the electrical parade there. They have all types of stuff. Currently, they have a gingerbread cake and a peppermint cake.
Dang it. I was kind of okay with not being part of the foodie guides because I didn't want to be sad about all the delicious things that I'm not going to be trying this season. And come on. Perfect. Way to go. If anyone tries these, please let us know how delicious they are. I feel like that gingerbread cake has got to be a knockout.
Yeah. It is a great location. Also, I highly recommend, if you can, to eat indoors, because there's the two side dining rooms are kind of like you're in like a, I don't know, what is it called? Like where there's plants.
Oh, like an atrium.
Like an atrium. It's really great. But yeah, and even if you walk up and see the line really long, it moves pretty quick. So I would recommend just wait in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cafeteria style dining. So you kind of pick what station it is that you want to go to. So they'll say like, this is the chicken station, or this is the fish and roats and pasta, whatever. You choose the line for the thing that it is that you want. You go fill up your own drinks. You grab your desserts. They actually make the salads fresh right in front of you. So when I had my Cobb salad, they built it and tossed and like created this wonderful thing right in front of my eyes. So it was one of the freshest salads you can probably get in the parks. But yeah, you're right. It goes pretty fast. And same thing with the seating. Like, don't let the seating make you nervous, because there's plenty of indoor seating and tons of outdoor seating. In fact, a lot of people say, a great place that most people don't realize seating's available is the Plaza Inn. So people will come over there from maybe Coke Corner that has like very little to no seating and use some of the seating over there, because there's plenty outside on the patio.
Or from the corn dog cart
or
there.
from the little corn dog cart.
I will say, were you the one that was there with us when we were, maybe it was one of the other trips, but I remember we were there one time and there was this family that had eaten.
Yes.
And they had fallen asleep on their table.
Yes.
The whole family.
Yes.
It was quite
we
amusing.
were joking. We're like, that's a good Disneyland day there.
Because they ate and fell asleep.
Yep. They had been having so much fun that that was it.
Yeah.
No more.
All right. Well, it is that time again for our friend Eric over at Concierge to catch us up on other Disney news.
Hello, everyone. This is Eric Johnson with Concierge, and welcome to the D180. While Ted and Teresa cover all things Disneyland, in the D180, we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe, and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. We begin our trip at sea once more as the Disney Treasure continues its journey toward its maiden voyage. December 21st is only a month away, and the ship has made quite a long trek. The Treasure made berth in Port Canaveral on November 12th, making this its first visit to the United States. Mickey and Minnie were present in their captain gear, along with a slew of cast members ready to cheer on and crew on this amazing ship. The Treasure departed Port Canaveral for a new destination in New York City. Along the hallowed shores of America's main entry, the Disney Treasure was given its honorary godparents. This is part of a time-honored tradition among ships, and Disney takes this very seriously. The Wish is dedicated to Make-A-Wish children across the world, for instance. The Treasure is now dedicated to Imagineers and Disney cast members around the world. May they continue to tell stories on land and at sea for many years to come. On November 13th, the Treasure pulled along New York Harbor for its christening and a truly impressive drone show. If you haven't seen it yet, please seek out some videos. Our concierge Michelle was there for the event and said it was incredible. Let's hope that we get to see more of this kind of entertainment going forward. We're getting awfully close to the maiden voyage of this new ship. The Disney Treasure looks like it will live up to its name. Look to the Disney Parks blog for looks into the new restaurants and lounges on this ship. I'm not sure why I've never traveled on a Disney ship, but this is convincing me to look for an opportunity. And hey, speaking of opportunities, I would love to try out the earliest days of the new Polynesian Village Tower rooms as they open up next month. Even this DVC member can't get a room there. Oh well. I love the looks from early previews, and I'm sure this property along the Seven Seas Lagoon will remain a big draw for years to come. If you're wondering about some of the big changes coming to Walt Disney World over the next few years, we will for sure cover them. For instance, let's finally get a forever home for the Muppets. Just days ago, Disney admitted that they would move Jim Henson's creations from Grand Avenue in Hollywood Studios to the other side of the park. I love that they're taking over the rock and roller coaster, but there is for sure more news to come on that front. I hope you enjoyed our quick spin around the rest of the Disney universe. If you'd like to learn more about these Disney adventures or just have a few questions, please come on over. Visit the social media and websites of both DL Weekly and us, their official travel planners, concierge. We look forward to planning something special for you and yours. I'm Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Thanks, Eric.
Your attention, please. DL Weekly Trivia is now leaving for a Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom, with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. All weekly tiers for...
Hello and welcome to Trivia Land. How are you two doing today?
Well, getting ready for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
What does Trivia Land do for Thanksgiving?
Well, there's plenty of turkey and other things around the park, so we're kind of just business as usual because, we're just iconic as it is.
Oh.
So
They head over to Snack Chat to nibble on some things.
Oh, my goodness.
how dare you? How dare you? Well, I hope you're ready to have a rootin' tootin' good time.
Oh, no.
Because I have
This sounds themed.
most questions for you about how well you know the Frontier Shooting Exposition.
Oh,
Barely. I know that it's
not well
there.
at all.
I
Not well at all.
was banking on that. It's a good week to learn things.
Okay.
So, my first question for you is, are there more or fewer than 100 targets at the Frontier Shooting
Holy
Exposition?
buckets. I'm going to say fewer than.
I'm also going to say fewer than. 100 sounds like a lot.
100 does sound like a lot, doesn't
it is pretty large, so
I don't think it's 100 large,
no.
though.
But it is a pretty big. It's one of those things that if you don't go over there and look, you might not realize how large it is and how many different things are happening and going on. But it's pretty. Now I want to go to the shooting gallery. We haven't even gotten all the way through Trivia Land, and this is making me want to check out the shooting gallery. I feel like I'm a terrible shot, but there's so many fun. It's such a fun, often not paid attention to area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why we thought we'd bring it to life. My second question for you is, what is the name of the legendary locale you're shooting in at the gallery?
Oh, boy.
It's not just like Rainbow Ridge, is it? Like it doesn't just transfer over
I don't
from
think
that.
So I'm going to say it's Ghostly Gulch.
I'm going to stick with Rainbow Ridge because why not?
Ghostly Gulch, Rainbow Ridge. I like those guesses. My third question, and the one that I will be very amazed if you get. At the shooting gallery, you hoist what kind of replica rifle?
Goodness gracious.
Wait. What was the question?
What kind of gun are you using?
It's like a shotgun of some sort.
Yes, but I think he wants specifics.
Specifics, yes. What kind of rifle is it?
Is it a Red Ryder BB gun? I'm in the holiday spirit, sorry.
You really are. Shoot your eye out, kid.
It's a
I don't know. They're little. I know
I'm
that
going to
much.
say it's a Winchester.
It's a Winchester.
Winchester.
Winchester, folks.
It's a Winchester. Well, you're not saying anything.
I said Red Ryder BB gun.
Okay. You going to write that down?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very important details. Someone is yelling at their phone right now.
I'm sure.
My
In full transparency, I have never. I feel ashamed now to realize this. Never done a shooting gallery.
Really?
I know.
You know, it's actually more
Fired.
high tech than you would think
I'm
because,
fired.
I think when you hit the targets, they light up and
They
stuff.
do.
yeah,
Because they don't shoot actual projectiles
I know
anymore.
that they're animated.
they're
that
infrared.
things happen.
That is correct.
I hope James's next question is, do they shoot real things or not?
Nope. My
Nope,
last
I was too busy
question.
writing down your Winchester.
I just said Winchester. Why did you put it twice?
Because you said it twice.
Oh, my goodness.
So nice, it's twice. Won't Teresa be embarrassed when that's the right answer?
Right.
Winchester.
No, my last question. We have ventured away from the shooting gallery, but I am lost.
Oh, your favorite tag.
Oh, and the challenge is, how do you find me in the first place? Because this week, I just finished my meal of carved turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans and cranberry sauce.
Ooh, you're getting tricky.
I took a right
I
and
wrote this
ventured.
article today, so
Yep.
I took a right and ventured in the next area and kept going until I found myself in a rather exclusive queue. Where am I?
Exclusive queue. How much of a right did you take?
So wait, the green beans and stuff, that's Plaza Inn.
yeah,
because that's where they're
Plaza.
doing that.
But I'm like, how much of a right are you hanging?
A little more than 90 degrees.
Okay, so we're looping into Tomorrowland. Exclusive queue.
Is he going up to the fireworks show thing that's in Tomorrowland? Oh, he's going into the Disney Vacation Club thing, because that'd be an exclusive
Hang on.
queue.
Now. Okay, say it again. Did you pass anything? Because I feel like you should have weaseled around to Star Tours.
I mean, I definitely saw things and got distracted, but I just kept walking forward until I couldn't walk forward anymore.
Yeah, I guess that would be. You're right. The DVC Star Lounge, Star Trader.
No.
Not the Star Trader.
Star Traders.
No, Star Traders is different.
It's
the
oh, no.
Star View. No, the View. No.
But the DVC Lounge.
Yeah, the DVC Lounge.
That is acceptable enough
Starliner
for me.
Lounge? Something like that. Anyway.
We'll see if you find me there, but first you have to go on your own adventure on your discussion topic.
Well, this week for our discussion topic, we are speaking with somebody who we've been trying to get on the podcast for a little while, and we finally made it happen. We're so excited. Kaye Mallins, who's the founder and executive director of the Walt Disney Hometown Museum in Marceline, Missouri, is joining us today. Kaye, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be with our friends again.
We're so excited to talk Marceline with you. We have been a couple of times now, and we just love it, and we just gush about it. We're excited to go back again. So we're excited to kind of pick your brain and learn more of the details and share how amazing Marceline and the Hometown Museum is.
Well,
You would think that we were like the visitors bureau for Marceline because we've spoken so highly of it. And I'm sure that through our conversation tonight, we will say all of that great stuff again.
Okay, so maybe you could be our Convention and Visitors Bureau people from afar.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, that works.
All right. Well, we're going to start like we always do. Tell us your Disney story. What got you interested in Disney? You can kind of be as detailed as you want. Just kind of what got you to where you are today.
Well, When I was 8 years old, I first met Walt and Lillian and Roy and Edna. They were standing in the living room of my parents' house in Marceline, Missouri.
I mean, what a story. What an intro.
I don't think we've ever had another guest that's been able to say anything close to that.
And they had come to Marceline to dedicate the Walt Disney Swimming Pool and Park. And were house guests of my parents for the time that they were here. And that's a whole nother story about how they were our house guests. But I was fairly precocious at 8. And I looked up at Walt Disney and said, "What room are you going to sleep in?" And he said, "Well, what room should I sleep in?" And I said, "Well, the pink one." And so my claim to fame as a child was that Walt and Lillian Disney stayed in my room.
Wow.
And it was from that visit on that I was hooked. And it was just a part of my life. You know, during the last 10 years of Walt's life, it wasn't unusual for me to pick up the phone and it'd be, "Hey, Kaye, this is Walt. I need to talk to your dad." So, you know, my love of Disney came actually from the man himself.
That's amazing. Amazing. So we're, a Disneyland podcast. So we're going to kind of pick your brain about the parks a little too. So when you go visit Disneyland on your first day, do you have a way you like to kind of attack the park? Do you go forward towards Fantasyland, left towards Adventureland, right to Tomorrowland, or do you just stay on Main Street?
No, I always go to the left. I go to the left tunnel when I go into Main Street. And my first stop is usually City Hall, and I go see some friends. And then after that, I'm a Main Street girl. I have to go by certain places. I have to go by the Hotel Marceline. Always have to do that. Have to go by and see Doc Shorewood's window at First Aid. Have to do that. And then I decide where I'm going. So I love the new attractions. I totally do. But I really like the dark rides. Yeah. I grew up with those. So I have to always make sure I get to see those as well every time I'm there.
Definitely.
Well, that leads right into our last pre-done question before we get into the meat is, what's your favorite attraction? So like Teresa said, we're a Disneyland attraction, but this can be any park around the world that you've been to with any of the attractions.
Well, I do love all the other parks. I haven't been to Asia. I do love the Disneyland Paris, but I'm a Disneyland girl. That's my favorite place to go. And I always have to ride Peter Pan.
That is a popular one. Is there something about Peter Pan that kind of just does it for you?
Yeah, when I was a little girl, everything Walt Disney gave me was Tinkerbell, because he said when I was a child, I reminded him of Tinkerbell. So that's the connection I have with it.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
And plus, Walt saw Peter Pan for the first time here in Marceline.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a traveling troupe. And because we were a division point on the railroad, we got a lot of, this troupe had been on Broadway.
Wow.
And so they did a performance of Peter Pan at the Cater Opera House here in Marceline. And yes, we had an opera house here. And I think that's one reason there's an opera house at Disneyland as well. But Walt said it took 2 piggy banks to get the tickets for he and Roy to go. But for those hours, they actually got to be in Never Never Land.
Wow.
And Walt said no one ever identified with the part as much as he did. The boy who never grew up.
Yep, definitely.
Walt, as we know, was a great salesperson. And he actually talked Park School into doing Peter Pan for the play that year at school, with him being Peter Pan, of course. And he said he did something that Maude Adams, who was a lead star in it, who had also been on Broadway, didn't get to do. He actually flew because he talked his brother Roy into hoisting him into the air with a block and tackle, but the rope broke, and Walt actually flew through the air and landed in the surprise laps of the audience. Yeah, that was his moment, but he never forgot doing Peter Pan in Marceline.
Wow,
that's amazing. That's like such a Walt story too. Isn't
Oh
it?
Yeah,
of course, having Roy be the one to kind of
Roy. Come on, look at me up there. And you can hear him going, "Okay, kid, okay." I'll pull you up there.
Poor Roy.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Just kind of, he held his ground a lot of times, but I also feel that, Walt kind of drug him along to a lot of things,
Well, he did, but Roy. Anytime we were out in California or at the studio or anything, it was always Roy who took care of us. I mean, Roy always made sure we got to do everything we wanted to do. You know, I got to ride horses and I got all the things. He goes, what do you want to do? And it was always Roy that made that happen for us. I adored that man.
Yeah.
This is just incredible that you have so many like childhood memories growing up
Firsthand.
And,
yeah, I was
having
I
such a
was
relationship with the Disney family.
Yeah, I had a magical childhood. I truly did.
Very cool. So let's kind of talk about Marceline and why it's so important. I think a lot of people assume that Walt was born in Marceline, which he was not, but he kind of had his formative years at Marceline. So can you kind of tell us about Walt's connection and why Marceline's so special to him?
Yeah, I think there's one statement that Walt made that kind of sums it up. And he made that in 1938 after Mickey was a huge success, Snow White was a huge success. And yet Walt wrote, more things of importance happened to me in Marceline that have happened since or are likely to in the future. And I think the few years that Walt was in Marceline made Walt Walt. When you think about, you know, they were living on a farm for the first time. They were surrounded by people who cared about them. I think Walt truly knew what a sense of place was. I think he truly knew how neighbors helped each other. You know, luckily, people that knew the Disneys were still living when I was a kid, you know, and so there were all these stories about Walt being the worst water boy on the thrashing crew there ever was because he was never paying attention. He was always off doing something, you know, but I think they saw, which they hadn't experienced in the city, how the community came together. You know, Walt often talked about harvest time, and how the farmers would go from farm to farm to farm during harvest, and how the wives and the daughters would come and set up tables, and there'd be bountiful food, and everybody ate collectively. And I truly believe when Walt started his company, a lot of those ideas about community and how everybody supported each other came from Marceline. So I think a lot of the structure of what he did came from those formative years here in Marceline.
That's neat. That makes total sense though, because you're right. The Disney company was very much a family and a community in and of itself. So yeah, that's
and you know, in the early days, you know, the men were encouraged to take their wives with them on business trips. You know, so I think it was, you know, that, as I said, that sense of community that he got here in Marceline. And you know, one thing I always think about is that, you know, when his parents had their fit, and I knew how Walt felt. It's well documented how Walt felt. You know, and I had conversations with Roy. I knew how he felt. I didn't know Herbert and Raymond at all. And Ruth and I were really good friends, his little sister. But I think it was that time in Marceline that Walt felt support. And then later, you know, the book comes out about Roy. He felt the same way.
Yeah.
Ruth donated her entire Disney collection to us because she wanted the story told in Marceline. And when Walt's parents had their 50th wedding anniversary, they told them they sent them anywhere in the world they wanted to go. And they chose to come back to Marceline. Wow. So those years in Marceline were important to everybody except Herbert and Raymond. They didn't feel quite the same.
I will say, and like I said, you know, we'll talk about this a lot, I think, during this interview, that one of the things I was so surprised about going to Marceline was it's such a small community, but it's so welcoming. It feels, in some ways, it feels like a very big community because you guys have a lot of really cool things there. You've got this museum, that pizza place that's right there is really good.
Marceline Pizza Company is good.
Yeah, it's really good. We were so happy to see that they were doing so well still when we came back, because we've been there a couple times now, and they have great food. And there was a barbecue place, but at the same time, it's like it's still a small community that everybody, you know, kind of knows everybody, and it's so welcoming, and it just feels good to be there. You know, we were talking about how the jobs that we do for a day job, if there was a tech college there and there was, you know, Teresa works in banking, like if there was, you know, enough there to do that, like, you know, Marceline would be a really cool place to live, actually.
Yeah, well, we have people moving in that feel the same way that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now people can work remotely. We have banks here. We have banks.
I mean, that's true.
I was going to say banks are easy.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I you're not alone in that feeling. We hear that over and over again, and it's just a cool place. You know, it's so neat when summertime you see the kid on their bicycle with their fishing pole. I mean, it's how we live.
Yeah,
you know, they're just pedaling down to the country club where they can fish. So
I have to share this story because I think this kind of sums it up. One of our favorite memories, the first time we visited Marceline, we were over at the post office, and I think it was like the sheriff.
Yeah.
And somehow we got talking to him and, kind of had this little fun interaction with him. Well, then we're exploring the town and we just kept running into him, and he kept, every time he'd have to stop and say hi to us again.
Yeah.
And, we're just we're not locals. We're just people that are visiting. And he was just so friendly and over the top. I think one of the last times we chatted, I was taking photos of something. He's like, "Hey, do you have permits to take those photos?" And I'm like, "Oh,
that's our chief of police, and he
chief of
loves
police."
the
Okay.
he loves a tourist, and we
It's
we
so
had
fun though.
yeah, but it works the other way too. There was a film crew in town, and they were wanting to get all their shots, and he wanted to visit with them. finally, I had to go out and say, they have a time frame here. We go, "Oh, I'm sorry," but yeah, so it is very welcoming.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So incredible.
It's what a great place to live, though, where you have like just fun people. So I kind of want to talk a little bit. I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners would like to know, like, how did the Walt Disney Hometown Museum come about?
Well, I was introduced to Ruth, Walt, the little sister, the only girl, from Walt and Roy. And Ruth and I had an amazing friendship. I adored her. Being the only girl and being the youngest, she was somehow the caretaker of family things. Through our conversations, and Ruth came back several times, and I went to see her several times. She said to me one time, she goes, "I want you to have my stuff." And I never thought anything about it. I really didn't. And she passes away. And her only son, Ted, calls me. He says, "Mom wants you to have her stuff." I said, "What are we talking about?" And he goes, "Well, come out here and see." So I flew out to Portland with a suitcase. And this was before 9/11. And you could fly with an empty suitcase and nobody cared, So I flew with an empty suitcase thinking there'd be enough stuff for an exhibit at City Hall. Got out there. They started taking stuff out of tops of closets, out from the beds. They had no idea what they had. And I'm going, okay. So, school teacher here. I come back to Kansas City. I get some help from Nelson Atkins Museum. And we go back out. And it was over a period of a year. They gave me a room in their house. And as they found things, they just put it in Kaye's room. So I would go out. And the first time I went out, it was with the museum people. We set up cameras and scanners on their kitchen table and started documenting things. It turned out to be, after it was all said and done, about 3,000 artifacts.
Wow.
And a lot of letters. They wanted me to read everything, which I did. They wanted me to read all of Ruth's journals, and she wrote in her journals almost every day.
Wow.
So I would understand. And I had promised Ruth I would tell the story of her family in Marceline. And so that's what we're doing. We're telling the story of the family.
It's incredible because some of the pieces that are on display there are things that you would, like, never in a million years would I think that I'd be able to see some of the things. The thing that really stuck out in my mind was we were sitting there and we were all excited. It's one of the rooms on the first floor. And it was the opening day speech was playing. We're like, oh, look, they've got a period appropriate TV and all this. And then all of a sudden we realized, we're like, wait a minute, this is a display. And the story behind that TV set, that TV set was the TV set that Ruth watched the opening day of Disneyland from as a gift from Walt, was just like incredible. Like never would you think that you'd be able to see something like that.
Yeah, it was so weird because we were going through things and she saved everything, which is great, for a museum. And there was a receipt for a television set about the time Disneyland opened. And so I said to her son, Ted, I said, "Hey, what is the story on this?" So he told me, he said, we were invited to the opening of Disneyland. Mom didn't like crowds, so we weren't going to go. So Uncle Walt sent us money for a new television set so we could watch it. And I said, "Oh my gosh, someday we'll be able to tell about the opening of Disneyland with this receipt." And he goes, "You want the TV?" I go, "What? What?" He had it out in his shed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's just, it was things like that, and it was so weird because they didn't, we boxed everything up. We had, I wasn't taking anything until they knew everything they had, till everything was listed. And you keep what you want, and then we'll do this. And So everything was ready to go, and they didn't want me to leave it. So we rented a U-Haul truck, and of course everything was insured. And so I called my friend who's a farm girl who knows all about tires and oil and things like that. And so, we're driving it back. They drew me a route of how they wanted me to go, and we drove it back. And so we stopped for the night, and my friend would go, "Oh my gosh, I got to park so that nobody can open these doors because, so she would always park against a pole." And I said, if they opened it, they're going to see a 1950s television set. I mean, it's not going to be like, woo, let's get this stuff.
Right. They don't know what the significance of that television.
They don't know what it is. But anyway, so yeah, we trucked it all back.
Incredible. We spent so much time in that room that the television set is in because you've got all, like you were just saying, a bunch of letters on display from, back and forth with Walt and Roy and Ruth. And I just remember sitting there thinking how amazing. I didn't know that they had all those different styles of letterhead depending on what film they were working on and all that. It was just, they were gorgeous. And so, yeah, that's amazing that she kept that. And it's incredible that you were able to help preserve that history and put it on display for all of us Disney crazy people to come and enjoy as well.
I'm just happy that Ruth had that foresight.
Yeah.
And that the family agreed. It could have been parceled out and sold or anything, or just, but Ruth had the foresight and her son made it happen. So I'm very grateful.
So you brought this U-Haul truck back to Marceline, which must have been nerve-wracking because to you know what all this stuff is, right? The significance that everybody else driving by you has no idea. Yep. Did you have the space? Because right now the museum is in the train depot building there. Has it always been there? And how did you come about that?
Yeah, well, Marceline was founded because of the Santa Fe Railroad needed a stop. That's why we're a town. We were on the last leg when they went from Kansas City to Chicago. They decided they needed a town every 100 miles to service steam locomotives, and we were one of those towns. So they actually built the town. The depot that the museum is the second one there. The first one was on the exact same footprint. It was it's a large building for a small town. And that's because we were a division point on the Santa Fe. So there were a lot of offices in the building. So the wooden frame one, who was on the exact same footprint, was just jacked up and put in the street behind the museum where people park now, and kept open while they built the other brick one. So the one we're in is 1913 is when it was dedicated. It had become in a lot of disrepair, and it was breaking my heart to see what was happening. After passenger service started, one time we had 7 passenger trains a day go through Marceline.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so cool. But it was, declining freight was everything. And so the station with no passengers coming in, and they moved some of the offices away. So the station was going into a decline, and they were using like 2 rooms in it. Then they just didn't want to work on it. So they put a trailer in, and they were doing all the business out of a trailer. Well, we tried for 7 years to purchase that building.
Whoa.
They said it was too close to the tracks, which it is. And we have 70 trains a day. It is very close to the tracks. You guys have been there. So, yeah, you hear them, don't you?
Yeah.
So we finally were able to purchase the building. It needed a roof. It needed windows. It needed everything. They had planned on tearing it down. So they'd already gone in and knocked all the asbestos out, but they didn't do it very carefully.
Oh.
Well, it is a plus, except, they were tearing it down. So they didn't do it very carefully.
Sure.
So our first goal was, and I had a great board, all local guys that had some success, and they knew and most of them's dad had worked out of that station. So we found the money. There was a major federal grant at that time, an ICT grant, which had to do with interstate transportation. So that was the first big grant we got, and we were able to get a new roof, so we could start. It was watertight, so we could start doing it. And while we hired a historic architect. And while we were working on things, this gentleman shows up and he goes, "I have something I think you would like to have." I said, "Okay," and it was a hand-drawn blueprints of that building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we know exactly what it looked like in 1913 because I'd already contacted the Santa Fe Museum, and they didn't particularly, ours, and which is very lucky we were able to save it. ours is a one-of-a-kind building.
Oh.
They had a playbook, and it was like if it was going to be, a station was going to be used for this purpose, you could choose from A, B, or C. It told you exactly how much, whatever you needed, how much lumber or whatever. And ours is a one-of-a-kind station, so I'm especially glad that we were able to save it. So, yeah, we opened rough. We had planned this celebration for 3 years. It was going to be September 21, 22, 23, 2001. And we had planned this for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And our goal was to have 50,000 people in Marceline in 3 days.
Wow.
So 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And we really didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. But we started receiving calls and emails from all over the world saying, don't you let them stop you. So we went ahead and we ended up with 30,000 people.
Wow.
It was a true celebration of a spirit. People were going to be there. I think one of the most thing that impressed me the most was we had the largest convergence of Disney authors and historians ever, and they were all coming on their own money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we didn't have any money. We still don't have any money, but we were starting. So anyway, the guys that were coming in from Europe, their flights got canceled. We were in no-fly zone.
Yeah.
So they flew to Canada, and we had to fax them the program, and then they let them drive into the United States.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. Yeah. It was just, they wanted to be here. So I promise, I hope I don't cry while I tell you this, but we had a parade. The governor of Missouri was there. Bands came in from everywhere. It was, as I said, truly a celebration. All of a sudden, everybody's lined up for the parade, and we hear this plane. Mm-hmm. It was one plane, and it was circling over Marceline. So, of course, everybody's looking up, and two guys jump out, and they unfurl two giant American flags.
Oh.
And they land on our Main Street.
Wow.
Wow.
I know. And I know. To this day, we do not know how that happened.
Wow.
And the pilot won't tell us.
Yeah.
But he had some kind of pull.
Yeah.
Because he could do that. But it was a moment.
Wow.
Incredible. That's incredible.
So that was our start.
That seems like
it's a good way to start.
beyond all odds.
Yeah.
You had this great opening. People showed up. And I have to say, I mean, I was alive then and remember 9/11. And I feel like anytime there's a tragedy like something like that, I feel like people want an escape and they want to do something fun and happy and not kind of let it over and positive and not let it overshadow everything. So I think that your event and your opening provided those 30,000 people with the type of escape and celebration that they kind of needed and wanted at that time. So I think it worked out well for everybody. It sounds like
it did. And people have been coming ever since.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just thinking about this too, because Marceline, I don't know the population off the top of my head, but 30,000 people in Marceline is huge. Like that is so many people for your
we were ready.
We were
ready.
Yeah.
And prior to that, we'd done a couple of events for the Disney company. We did a release of a video that they did, and we did that, and we had probably that many people town for that. So, we know how to throw a party.
That you do. We've been to one there too, and we're looking forward to going to another party there too. We'll talk about that party later, though.
Yeah, a little bit later. Yeah.
So the one thing I was that's another thing that you kind of brought up there. How has that been? Because you guys are the hometown museum is not part of the Walt Disney Company. You kind of work, there's a partnership, a friendship there. So how has that been, over the years, kind of doing all sorts of different fun and cool events with the Walt Disney Company itself?
It is so fun. We have a great relationship. Mm-hmm. We all really like each other and we really respect each other.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a better working relationship that we could have. Yeah, we have a lot of friends there. We do things together. We do things for the company and they do things for us. So it's the best. It's absolutely the best.
I think it's so cool that the company, even still to this day, is still honoring, kind of Walt Disney's roots and the history there and still celebrating that too. in addition, to what you guys are doing. I think that's so cool.
I
Because a
do
lot
too.
of times I think companies kind of like, oh yes, this was our beginnings, but they're always looking forward. So I
Yeah.
love that Walt Disney Company.
Well, I think Disney always looks forward too. But
Oh, yeah.
but what I like about it is that it's what sets them apart.
Mm-hmm.
It is that. It's their traditions and it's that history that sets
Mhm.
Disney apart from anybody else.
Yeah. So there's a couple different Disney museums around, right? There's your guys' hometown museum, which kind of focuses on his hometown. There's the Walt Disney Family Museum, which I've been to before in San Francisco, which is kind of like family focused, I guess I would say maybe. And then of course there's, like the Walt Disney Archives, which is like all the company kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool that there's these like little, there's different sections that kind of cover these different things. Is there anything that the Walt Disney Company has found and been like, oh, this should be in the hometown museum? And is there anything like that you have? Or have you guys found your own stuff and they kind of keep their stuff?
Well, we pretty much find our own stuff, but we have been offered things for special exhibits, and we're working on a couple right now.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
like I said, it's the best of both worlds. And what's really fun too is that I've been at the Family Museum to present a couple of times, and the last two D23 expos, I still call it that.
Yeah.
We do too. It's okay.
They put us right next to the Family Museum. And it was before that we were way away from each other. It has been so much fun, because we get to talk to each other, when there's a lull, we get to talk to each other and we get to interact and we get to, what do you think about this? Or, do you have this? And actually we have, there are things that we do to kind of flesh out each other's stories. So it's just the best. Yeah, it's just the best.
Well, that's what's neat about all the different, because you guys are kind of more of the like early years of Walt, whereas they're kind of more of the later years of Walt. And then obviously the archives is kind of, everything. So it's kind of neat because you guys, there is some overlap, but then it's also kind of a continuation of the same story, but it's just kind of broken up into different pieces. Speaking of like artifacts and stuff, so obviously the first kind of set of things came from Ruth. How have you kind of gotten other items, and what types of other items are on display in addition to that first set that Ruth donated?
Well, we, how Disney fans are. They collect things, which we're very grateful for. But for a very long time, people were offering us things, and we go, well, that doesn't fit our story.
Sure,
and that's really difficult because, it's somebody's treasured prize thing, and it'd be great to show it, but it just didn't fit. And we were a really small museum, and we've always felt like we stay within our story. And then we decide, well, shoot, we can have a temporary exhibit. We can have what people collect, and that has turned out to be a lot of fun and something that our fans really enjoy. They enjoy seeing the stuff.
Yeah.
They enjoy seeing that. So, so we have, even though everything we're offered is fabulous, most of it is just awesome, we're small. We can't accept everything. So, but to all of you people listening, do not hesitate to contact us because, we're always changing this What Collectors Collect gallery.
Oh, and that makes it fun because then it keeps the museum fresh. And so folks like us that come and visit multiple times, you get to, kind of experience different things and see different things. And I'm trying to remember, there was something unique there the first time we went that I was kind of like, wow, there was like a bicycle. I don't remember what the story was.
It's a there's a bicycle and a tricycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's two of them there. So it's fun. And the important thing to us too is not just the artifact or memorabilia. It is the story that goes with it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the most important part because, anybody can buy things, but if there's a great backstory, that makes it really, really special. And that's what we like to share.
Is there an artifact or a story in the museum that you particularly are fond of?
Oh, there's several of them, but I'm intrigued by Elias Disney. And I think Elias got a bad rap. I mean, when you read the family letters and everything else, he had a lot more personality. I think they just give it credit for.
Sure.
And of course, a lot of it I'm hearing from Ruth, and being the only girl and being the baby.
Yeah.
I think Elias had lightened up by then. I think it was probably hard on the older boys, but Yeah, I think he was just, they always owned their own home. He always had a job. He always made a living for his family. And I think Walt got kind of his restlessness and trying to figure out things from Elias because, Elias, I mean, no, people at that time weren't moving as much as the Disneys did. People at that time had a job and they stuck with it.
Yeah.
But Elias always would go, yeah, this would work. I'm going to try that, So they go move again. So yeah, I like Elias. And so there's this business plan in the museum, and it's written on a piece of foolscap, just torn paper. And he writes around all the uneven edges on this business plan. And I love that because it ends with no chicken-hearted people need apply. So, I'm going, okay, Elias, there's a little fire there, buddy, so yeah, so that's one of my favorite things. And I like the Mickeys that Walt and Roy gave their parents on their 50th wedding anniversary. I really like those. And there's a letter that Roy wrote. Ted, his Ruth's son, was given a movie projector for Christmas from Walt and Roy. And so Ted asked for some movies, Disney movies that he could show on his projector. And so Roy writes this very formal letter and charges him a fee to use these Disney films.
Yeah.
And told him he must retire, he must return them. And so it was a business lesson for Ted that Roy was giving him. So Ted returns them, and Roy returns all the money and tells him to go take his mother to see Snow White.
Oh,
I know. So it's just so sweet. It's just so sweet. So yeah, there's fun things like that I enjoy.
It just made me think
So
like
fun.
Roy had the first video rental business.
Yeah. First Blockbuster.
yeah.
He was way ahead of his time.
Yeah,
We
he
talk
was.
about Walt being ahead of his time, but Roy also doing it.
Yeah, but it was just such a sweet lesson that he was giving his nephew.
That's amazing. So the museum is definitely a must-see whenever folks visit Marceline, but the whole town has such a rich Disney connection and history. We loved, there was all these little drive around, listen to things that you could kind of do this little self-guided tour around the town. Can you kind of tell us about some of the important areas outside of the museum in Marceline?
Yeah, we have a wonderful QR code tour of Marceline because, we have people that want the whole story. We used to do guided tours, but we just can't do that anymore. So we thought, we'll have QR code tours and people can do it on their own.
Yeah.
So, there's you from the museum, you walk through E.P. Ripley Park, which, what did Walt write in opening day of Disneyland? He wrote in on the E.P. Ripley. And he used to play in this park, and then you walk across the street and you go to the only federal building in the United States named after Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Post Office building. And you get this special hand cancellation there that you can't get anyplace else. And then you walk down the original Main Street USA. And there's all kinds of stops along Main Street. And of course, you have to get a Dusty Miller. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an ice cream treat original to Marceline. So you have to get a Dusty Miller. And there's cute little shops that have opened up. And then there is the Zerker building, which was Walt's inspiration for Coke Corner at Disneyland. And we're going, okay, Walt, we kind of see it. Quarter inches building, arched windows, but ours isn't nearly as Victorian as the one at Disneyland. Well, Walt knew something that I didn't know. In 1917, apartments had been added on the back of the Zerker building. A few years ago, they burned, and we cleared away the debris, and we found the original 1905 Drink Coke 5-cent sign. So that's the sign Walt being watched as a little boy. So, of course, that was his Coke Corner. So, and on top of it, it has an advertisement for Hutchison's Furniture and Undertaking.
Yes.
And, So when the Coca-Cola company came back to repaint the sign for us, they go, "You want to leave that?" Yeah, we go, yes, because Walt always told the story. His older brother Roy always made sure I had a little extra spending money. So one day he got them a job cleaning a horse-drawn hearse at Hutchison's. And Walt said, "Roy worked hard cleaning all day, and I laid inside and pretended like I was dead." So we always think too that what's outside of every Haunted Mansion attraction.
That's true.
Yeah, we just think that's a little tip of the hat.
Love
I
it.
love that.
Yeah, we. I was just
There we
looking.
are.
Got our picture in front of
There
it
you go. There you go.
that we had. So
Yeah. Well,
No,
and then
that
you can't
self-guided
miss.
tour is
You
amazing.
can't go. Yeah, you can't miss the Walt Disney Swimming Pool and Park, and
Yes.
then you go out to Walt's Barn on the Disney Farm. So
Mhm.
there's just a lot to see when you come here.
Definitely. And the school, Walt Disney Elementary
Yes.
School, too.
Yeah, yeah. And if you can't get in, you can see some of the murals that he had done. If you look through the window, and they don't think it's weird, so you can go ahead and
Probably
look.
they're
through
used to it.
They're
Yeah,
used to
because
it.
we did that. We went over there, and
The school was closed.
the
though,
school
so
was
we weren't-
closed, but we were looking in, and it was tough because we wanted to take photos because we didn't know if we were going to return ever, and so we're trying to take pictures through the glass, which you know how that goes, and it was sunny out and everything else. But there's some really cool murals and stuff in there that's neat. And then, of course, you guys had the original Autopia, mini Autopia.
We did. Well, at the school, there's a flagpole from the Squaw Valley Olympics.
That's true.
Yeah, Walt sent one of the flagpoles from the Olympics back here.
Yeah,
Have two very special Disney flags as well.
yeah, and the
we had.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the Midgetopia ride. Walt, it operated at Disneyland for 10 years. Then they took it out to put Small World in, and Walt sent it to Marceline. And it's the only gift of its kind ever given or operated outside of a Disney park. So the ride operated here for 11 years, a year longer than it did. During that time, Walt passed away, and they started cannibalizing the cars for parts. So it was put in storage, and we still have several of the original cars. And thanks to a donation from some good Disney friends, we were able to do the track again. And we have a couple of the cars, and we will bring them out on special events. So, yeah. So the Utopia is working again.
That's awesome.
It's neat because the last time we were there, we spent a lot of time over because you've got kind of like I don't know, where the queue area would have been with the big awning and the sign. And then you've got the paved track. It was very neat. And I liked how you guys have like little, I don't know, the little paver brick kind of things in there with different people's names on it and important stuff. So yeah, I thought that was really
and we
cool.
have the original dedication plaque there
Yeah.
from when the original Utopia ride was dedicated. Yeah. It's very cool.
The only thing that I think we were just sad about because we didn't get there early enough was Walt's dreaming tree. Had you could tell the story way better than I can. What happened with his dreaming tree?
Let's talk about what is
it
tree?
for people who don't know, and then what happened to it?
Well, Walt's dreaming tree it was located on the Disney farm, and Walt's dad, as we discussed earlier, was a pretty tough taskmaster, and he didn't think his son should be daydreaming, and he certainly didn't think his son should be drawing. So Walt, being the youngest boy, was charged with taking care of his little sister a lot of the time, who was 2 years younger. So he and Ruth would go kind of steal away, and there was this giant cottonwood tree on the Disney farm, and they would lie beneath its branches, and that's where Walt said he very first started to draw. And his sister Ruth told me that he would draw her a picture, and then he'd make up a right good story to go along with it. So my experience with Walt and the Dreaming Tree is when he came back in 1956. And I got to follow along. And of course, we had, me and my dad, we had a photographer there. And of course, Disney photographers were there as well. And so we get to the Disney farm. And I remember vividly, Walt knew how to cross a barbed wire fence. He knew how to push it down and step over it rather than people try to, separate it and go through it. I remember that impressed me being a farm girl. That impressed me. And so we get across the barbed wire fence, and Walt looks at Roy and goes, "It's still here."
Oh.
So we have wonderful pictures of Walt and Roy down at the Dreaming Tree. And he said it was like a magical place for them, because I don't know how many of your listeners have ever been around a cottonwood tree. Number one, the leaves are kind of heart-shaped. And when they blow, they're green, silver, and they make kind of a tinkling sound.
Oh.
So I can see why that was a magical spot.
Yeah.
For two little kids, that was a magical spot for them. So the tree stood for years and years and years. And actually, there was an organization, American Forest Historic Tree Nursery, came to Marceline, and they collected almost 1 million seeds off of that tree. And they were using them. They made these cute little kits they sold them, but they used the money to reforest areas that had a natural disaster, like a fire or something like that. We felt really good knowing that we were helping reforest all these areas that had some kind of natural disaster. And then we had our own disaster. We had a terrible lightning storm one day at night, and I heard it hit. And I went down there the next day, and I thought, well, it doesn't look bad, and I'm told that the cottonwoods are kind of conductors of of electricity. They're always by water. They always have kind of that thing. So I wasn't aware of that. But anyway, so I go down there, and it looked pretty good from the front. And then I went around the back. I go, oh man.
You're like, oh, no.
So it was scorched all the way down the back. So I called friends at Disneyland that were in horticulture.
Yeah.
They sent somebody out, and they said, there's nothing we can do.
Wow.
So, and they told me exactly what was going to happen. They said, it's going to look okay for a while. Then limbs are going to start falling off. And that's exactly what happened. So for years, though, this huge trunk, and it was a massive tree, this huge trunk was there. And it was interesting. I go down there and people be taking pictures, and they'd be down by the tree. But one of the cutest things was there was this little girl, and she goes running up to it. She puts her arm as far as she could around it. And she goes, now I know where the tree of Pocahontas came from. So everybody saw something different in it,
Yeah.
But again, this is prior to this happening to it. I mean, the tree was still standing, and American Forest had collected all these seeds off the tree. We planted the Son of Dreaming tree, not too far from it. And a sapling had been grown from its seed, and one of Walt's grandsons, Brad Lund, came in, and 3 Walt Disney World ambassadors, and they planted the Son of Dreaming tree really close to the original. So if you go to the Dreaming Tree site now, you'll see it's about over 40 feet tall now. You'll see the Son of Dreaming tree growing very proudly there.
That's the one you hugged, right?
That's the one I hugged.
Yeah. So I wasn't there to see you do that, but
I did not say that this is where Pocahontas' tree came from.
No,
that wasn't me.
there's kind of a running kind of thing on the podcast. So when Pirates of the Caribbean took their trees out and replaced them because I guess they had been sick or something, Teresa was very worried about the trees. And so every time we report on a story at Disneyland that trees have been taken down or moved or whatever, Teresa's like, I just want to make sure the trees are going to be okay. And it's spurred this whole thing that people have made up called hashtag Save Teresa's Trees. And so I have a picture of her hugging the Son of the Dreaming tree, and then I have a picture of her hugging when the new trees were planted at Pirates. She's hugging one of those, and I'm sure when we go back to the Haunted Mansion area that they just reopened, that she's probably gonna, if she can get close enough, will hug one of those trees.
I will look forward to seeing the photos.
Yes, we will show them to you for sure.
The Disney Lorax.
It is true. Who will speak for the trees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many children of the Dreaming Tree now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Dreaming Tree still lives on.
That's what you should do. You should go hug them all.
Yes.
All these trees.
Go find all of them.
All these worlds. Yeah. I wonder if they still have a list of that. And also there is a Dreaming Tree at Disneyland. When the park was 50 years old, we donated a tree to them.
That's awesome.
So there's a Dreaming Tree at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Got to figure out where that specific one is. I know we have the Dreaming Tree in Toontown, but that's not a real tree.
Right.
No.
But it's a nice nod to the original.
And there's the what is it? The Dominguez tree, which is the
giant palm.
The palm tree. And well, we've had so much fun talking with Kaye, and she has so much more to share with us. Join us next week where we continue our conversation.
The holidays are quickly approaching, and we will be sending out our postcards again this year to all of our supporters at the $3 and above levels. If you are currently a supporter on Patreon, please log in and make sure that your address is up to date so you can get your holiday card. If you would like to get a postcard from us, please head on over to dlweekly.net/support to become an official weekly tier and get on the list.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, Shell. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
Well, welcome back to Trivia Land. Back again, as always. I am glad you're here because you have things to learn.
Oh, geez.
I'm sure we do. Shocker, Winchester.
Hey.
and Red Ryder BB gun.
I'm going to pop you with my Winchester.
Yeah.
Great.
so
Now, if you turn up dead, they're going to point to this
Yep.
episode and be
They
like,
are.
he threatened her.
You heard it here, folks.
with his Winchester, super serious. Well, let's get into it. So, my first question about the Frontier Shooting Exposition was, are there more or fewer than 100 targets? On the Disneyland website, they list it as nearly 100 targets.
Boom. We got that one.
Wow. Just
Well done.
barely.
I know that you're saying probably proper English, but when you said more than or fewer,
Fewer than.
yeah.
Ooh, are we doing an English lesson in
No, I just
Trivia
feel
Land?
like it sounds
can
like
we?
people generally say less than.
Yeah, okay. So you say
Oh, Lord.
fewer than if you can count it. So if it's something
there
that
you
is
go.
countable, if it's too broad or you're not sure, you say less than. So since it's 100 targets and we're counting, it's fewer than.
So what's incorrect about saying less than?
I mean, it's just less correct. Notice
It's not
less,
fewer
It's not
correct?
fewer correct. It's less correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't wait till we get like a feedback email with like a whole diatribe of why I'm wrong and don't know how to do
I don't know.
English.
See, I'm stuck on like math. The
I mean,
fewer than
math's
less
its
than.
own language. So
Less than or greater than?
Yeah, less than or greater than.
yeah, like I said, different language. Anyway, carrying forward before we get into a whole college lecture, what is the name of the legendary locale you're shooting at? It is not Rainbow Ridge. It is not Ghostly Gulch. You are actually at Boot Hill in Tombstone, Arizona,
Oh,
a notorious old
Dang
west
it.
town.
I don't know if I knew that at all.
now that James just said that,
Of course, that's always
I
what
know,
happens.
I know.
It's like, yeah, I've heard that one before. My real stumper of a question was asking you if you knew what kind of replica rifle it
The other
was.
ones weren't stumpers.
Right?
This was a very confident wrong answer, which I appreciate. It's a 54 caliber Hawkins Buffalo rifle.
A buffalo rifle. Okay.
So easy. Yeah. Anyway, on to see if you found me in the park. I finished my meal of carved turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans, and cranberry sauce. I took a right and ventured in the next area and kept going until I found myself in a rather exclusive queue. Where am I? You were close enough to where I was going. You went upstairs. I stayed downstairs in the Star Wars launch bay.
Oh,
But it's like the same queue and ramp
But is
to
it
get you
but,
in there.
but is it exclusive though?
I mean, you have to be a Disney Visa card holder.
Well, that's for the photo op.
Well, yeah,
The
that's the whole
actual-
point.
The actual location, I don't think is really open anymore for anybody. It's just like
Yeah.
a photo spot.
Yeah, I went to get my picture with Darth Vader. Hello. This should not be a surprise.
Okay.
I'm giving you the points anyway because that was close enough to where I was going, and you would have realized I wasn't upstairs.
Okay.
So nice work.
By the way, it was the Star View station, I think. Yep.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how good of attention you paid to the subtle differences in the Thanksgiving offerings between Plaza Inn, Carnation Cafe, or the Jolly Holiday Sandwich.
Now, by this time, so spoiler alert to people who don't know how the podcast is made. We're recording this before we have the news that we record. So we haven't talked about this yet. But by the time you're hearing this, we will have talked
in
about
our
it.
timeline, we
Yeah.
have not talked about this,
But
but
the
in
only-
our timeline, we have.
The only reason I remember this, and the reason it sticks out, is because when I was writing this today, I was like, oh, green beans. They usually have green beans at Plaza
Oh,
Inn,
sure.
so they're just adding the regular green beans to the
See,
Thanksgiving dinner.
It stuck out to me because I remembered when I came across the news story how it was much more fledged out. We'll talk about this in the news, so I'm sorry
Yeah.
that you'll hear this again. How the menu is much more fledged out, but less expensive than some of the other places. And it
Yeah.
was like, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good deal.
Hey, you're missing out on the cornbread if you don't go to Carnation Cafe. So
Well, you're also not getting you're getting shaved. Was it like shaved
carved
turkey as opposed to like a piece of
a
turkey?
piece of turkey breast. Yep.
Yeah.
Or the sandwich at Jolly Holiday. It is Thanksgiving all around the hub in Main Street. But with that, hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, or had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're listening to us in the past. I know producer Vern and I are very thankful we get to do this and get to ask a lot of your questions along the way. So if you want to send some more into us, just head on over to our website, dlweekly.net/trivia.
We will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
A special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.